I'm Caroline, and today I'm going to be reading some Homeric hymns. Just a few, probably some of the smaller ones, just because a lot of them are kind of long. Okay, I'm going to start first with the hymn to Aphrodite. So in the book, I should probably say I'm reading from a book called The Anthology of Classical Myth, Primary Sources and Translation, 2nd edition, edited and translated by Trascoma, Smith, and Burnett. I'm sorry if I mispronounce those names. I don't know how to pronounce them. I'm just mentioning the source just because if you know Homeric Hymns, maybe you study it, or you're just interested, you might find that what you read, or what you're able to find, is going to be written a little bit differently, and that's just because of the translation. Translation is all about choices, and obviously nobody speaks ancient Greek anymore, so a lot of times whoever is translating it has to make a few decisions as to how they're going to rewrite something, rework something, and also just to make it work in English or whatever language you speak in. Anyway, as I said, I'm going to read Homeric Hymn number 6, to Aphrodite. So, I shall sing of the revered Aphrodite, the golden crowned, the beautiful, who has for her portion the mountain crests of sea-girt Cyprus. There, the strength of the west wind, moistly blowing, carried her amid soft foam over the wave of the resounding sea. Her did the golden-hooded Horai gladly welcome, and clad her about in immortal raiment, and set on her deathless head a well-wrought crown, fair and golden, and in her pierced ears put earrings of aurichak and of precious gold. Her delicate neck and white bosom they adorned with necklaces of gold, which the golden-hooded Horai themselves wear when they come to the glad dance of the gods in their father's dwelling. As soon as they had thus adorned her in all finery, they led her to the immortals, who gave her greeting when they beheld her and welcomed her with their hands. And each god prayed that he might lead her home to be his wedded wife. So much they marveled at the beauty of fair garlanded Cytherea. Hail you of the glancing eyes, you sweet, enchanting goddess, and grant that I bear off the victory in this contest, and lend grace to my song, while I shall both remember you and another song. So if you don't know, Homer was a poet, a Greek poet, and honestly, all the Homeric hymns aren't necessarily written by him. They are just written at probably the same time and the same style that he did, so they got lumped together. So we're not sure which ones he actually wrote and which ones were just somebody else. But in antiquity, in the classical period, poets were oftentimes like also like playwrights, sometimes kind of philosophers, but there would be like competitions, there would be festivals and stuff where they would compete essentially. Like they would either perform their poems, or it would be sung sometimes, or their plays, and they would put them on. And, it would be a competition. I don't think it would usually be money or any kind of like real reward, well, like physical reward. It would be more just like clout, I guess. Just like notoriety, because poets were oftentimes already rich or already like higher status members of society. Because obviously they were the only people who could afford to just sit around and write poetry and, spend time on that thing. So when a lot of times in these hymns, you'll see at the end that they are usually asking for something from the gods, like whoever they're singing to, and it's usually for like luck or just you give your respects to the gods. You don't want to get you don't want to annoy them, you don't want to piss them off lest they do something terrible to you. Anyway, next is going to be to Dionysus. Concerning Dionysus, the son of renowned Semele, shall I sing, how once he appeared upon the shore of the unharvested sea, on a jutting headland, in form like a man in the bloom of youth, with his beautiful dark hair waving around him, and on his strong shoulders a purple robe. Suddenly, men from a well-wrought ship, pirates, came sailing swiftly over the dark seas. Tyrsinians were they, and an evil doom led them, for they, beholding him, nodded to one another, and swiftly leapt forth, hastily seized him, and set him aboard their ship, rejoicing in their heart, for they thought that he was the son of kings, the fosterling Zeus, and they were minded to bind him with grievous bonds. But the fetters did not hold, and the withs fell far from his hands and feet. There he sat smiling, with his dark eyes, but the steersman saw it, and spoke aloud to his companions. Fools, what god have you taken and bound? He is a strong god. Our well-built ship may not contain him. Surely this is Zeus or Apollo of the silver bow, or Poseidon, for he is in no way like mortal man, but like the gods who have mansions in Olympus. Nay, come, let us instantly release him upon the dark mainland, and do not lay your hands upon him, lest, being wroth, he rouse against us mighty winds and rushing storm. So spoke he, but their captain rebuked him with a hateful word. Fool, look you to the wind, and haul up the sail, and grab all the hawsers. Don't know what that is. Men will take care of this one. I think he will come to Egypt, or to Cyprus, or to the Hyperboreans, or further still, and at last he will tell us who his friends are, and about his wealth and his brethren, for the god has delivered him into our hands. So spoke he, and went about, raising the mast and hoisting the mainsail, and the winds filled the sail and made the taut ropes all around. But soon strange matters appeared to them. First there flowed through all the swift black ship a sweet and fragrant wine, and the ambrosial fragrance arose, and fear fell upon all the mariners who beheld it. And straightway a vine stretched here and there along the sail, hanging with many a cluster, and dark ivy twined around the mast, blossoming with flowers and gracious fruit. And garlands grew on all the thole pins, and they who saw it bade the steersman drive straight to land. Meanwhile, within the ship, the god changed into the shape of the lion at the bow, and loudly he roared, and amidships he made a shaggy bear, signs of his godhead. There it stood raging, and on the deck the lion glared terribly. Then the men fled in terror to the stern, and there stood in fear around the prudent pilot. But suddenly the lion sprang forth and seized the captain, and the men, when they saw, all at once leapt overboard into the strong sea, shunning dread doom, and there were changed into dolphins. But the god took pity upon the steersman, and preserved him, and gave him all good fortune, and spoke, saying, "Be of good courage, kind sailor, you who are dear to me. I am Dionysus of the noisy rites, whom Cadmean Semele born after joining in love with Zeus. Hail, you child of beautiful Semele! None that is mindless of you can fashion sweet song." That's Dionysus, god of wine, god of madness in a way, god of transgressions and transitions. Fun stuff. Now there's a bunch of short ones. How about Artemis? Sing, muse of Artemis, the sister of the far daughter, the archer maiden, fellow nursling with Apollo, who waters her steeds at the reedy wells of Meles, then swiftly drives her golden chariot through Smyrna to Claros of the many clustered vines, where Apollo the silver bow sits waiting for the far-darting archer maiden. And so hail to you, and hail to all goddesses in my song, but to you first, and beginning with you, I shall sing, and so pass on to another song. Now, another one to Aphrodite. I shall sing of Cytherea, the Cyprus-born, who gives sweet gifts to mortals. There is always a charming smile on her face, always a charming blush. Hail to you, goddess, queen of the fair settled Salamis and all of Cyprus, and give me a desirable song. Now I will be mindful of you and of another song. Next is to Athena. Of Pallas Athena, the savior of cities, I begin to sing, dread goddess, who with Ares takes care of the works of war, and of sacked cities, and of the war cry, and of battles. It is she who protects the army, as it goes and returns from the fight. Hail, goddess, and give us happiness and good fortune. Next, to Hera. Of Hera I sing, the golden throned, whom Rhea bore, an immortal queen in beauty preeminent, the sister and the bride of loud thundering Zeus, the lady renowned, whom all the blessed throughout high Olympus honor and revere no less than Zeus, who delights in thunder. You may have heard noticed that the mentioning that she is the sister and bride of Zeus, and yes, Greek gods were very interesting, I guess you could say. They had a lot. I mean, they're all siblings pretty much, so yeah, do with that information what you will. But Greek gods are fairly interesting in the sense that they're very human, I guess you could say. They make mistakes, they they get angry, they get sad, happy, whatever. They have extremes. They're not perfect by any means. But it's just something that's I find unique about, or interesting about Greek gods, is that they're very human. Like, they cheat, they eat, they drink. I don't know, it's just something that's very interesting. And also commit incest, I guess. Yep. Anyway. To Demeter. Of fair-dressed Demeter, the holy deity, I begin to sing. Of her and the maiden, lovely Persephone. Hail, goddess, save this city and inspire my song. A very short one. 14. To the mother of the gods. If you don't know, that the mother of the gods is Gaia. She was the goddess of the earth, I believe, who gave birth to all of the Olympians. Okay. To the mother of the gods. Sing for me, clear-voiced muse, daughter of great Zeus, about the mother of all gods and all mortals. She who delights in the sound of rattles and drums, and in the noise of flutes, and in the cry of wolves and fierce-eyed lions, and in the echoing hills and the woodland haunts. And so hail to you, and to all the goddesses in my song. Also, you'll notice that a lot of times in the hymns, they don't refer to the gods by their, official names. They just use epithets usually. I don't know, just to keep things interesting. So, you'll often hear, the daughter of this person, the son of this person, the father of that person. Or, with Aphrodite, the Cytherea, Cyprus-born, because those were lands that were connected with her, or where she was supposed to have been born, and so they'll refer to that, or golden-haired Aphrodite, or Apollo of the silver bow. It is just epithets of the same god, usually. Anyway. To Heracles, the lion-hearted, or Hercules, but it's spelled Heracles, so that's how I'm going to say it. I'm also just going to mention, in case you haven't noticed, I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these Greek words, especially the names. So, sorry. I don't know how to pronounce them. Okay. Of Heracles, the son of Zeus, I will sing. Mightiest of mortals, who Alcmene bore in Thebes, of the fair dancing places. For she had lain in the arms of the son of Cronos, the lord of the dark clouds, Of old did the hero wander endlessly over land and sea at the bidding of Prince Eurystheus himself, and wrought many deeds of fateful might, and many he endured. But now in the fair haunts of snowy Olympus he dwells in joy, and has fair ankled Hebe for his wife. Hail, Prince son of Zeus, and grant me fame and fortune. Kind of bold, bold thing to ask of him. Next is to Hermes. I sing of Selenian Hermes, slayer of Argos, prince of Selene, and of Arcadia, rich in sheep, the swift messenger of the immortals. Maia, the modest daughter of Atlas, bore him after joining in love with Zeus. The company of the blessed gods she shunned, and dwelled in a shadowy cave where the son of Cronos used to lie with the fair-tressed nymph in the dark of night, while sweet sleep, so try saying that 5 times fast, held white-armed Hera. Neither immortals nor mortal men knew of it. Hail to you, son of Zeus and Maia. With you I will begin and pass on to another song. Hail, Hermes, giver of grace, guide, giver of good things. Next is to Pan. If you don't know, Pan is a satyr. He's a guy with like a human head, human upper half, goat lower half. That guy. He has like the pan flute. That guy. That guy. He is, I believe, the god of the wild, god of nature, stuff like that. God of satires, obviously. Yeah, that guy. Okay. Tell me, Muse, about the dear son of Hermes, the goat-footed, the two-horned, the lover of the din of revel, who haunts the wooden dells with dancing nymphs, who tread the crests of the steep cliffs, calling upon Pan, the pastoral god of the long wild hair. He is the lord of every snowy crest and mountain peak and rocky path. Here and there he goes through the thick copses, sometimes being drawn to the gentle waters, sometimes faring through the lofty crags as he climbs the highest peak, from where he can see flocks below. Always he ranges over the high white mountains, and among the ridges he always chases and slays the wild beast, the god with keen eye, and at evening returns alone, piping from the chase, breathing sweet strains on the reeds, in song that bird cannot excel him at, among the leaves of the blossoming springtide, pours forth her lament in her honey-sweet song. With him, then the mountain nymphs, the clear-voiced singers, go wandering with light feet, and sing at the side of the dark water of the well, while the echo moans along the mountain crest, and the god leaps hither and thither, and goes into the mist with many a step of the dance. On his back he wears the tawny hide of a lynx, and his heart rejoices with clear-voiced songs in the soft meadow where crocus and fragrant hyacinth bloom all mingled amidst the grass. They sing of the blessed gods and of high Olympus, and above all they sing of swift Hermes, how he's the fleet herald of all the gods, and how he came to many fountain Arcadia, the mother of sheep, where is his Selenian sanctuary, and there he, though a god, shepherded the fleecy sheep, the servant of a mortal man, for soft desire had come upon him to unite in love with the fair-haired daughter of Dryops, and the glad nuptials he accomplished, and to Hermes in the hall she bore a dear son. From his birth he was a marvel to behold, goat-footed, two-horned, a loud speaker, a sweet laughter. Then the nurse leapt up and fled when she saw his wild face and bearded chin. But straightway did swift Hermes take him in his hands and carry him, and gladly did the god rejoice at heart. Swiftly to the dwellings of the gods he went, bearing the babe hidden in thick skins of mountain hair. There he sat down by Zeus and the other immortals and showed his child, and all the immortals were glad at heart, and above all the Bacchic Dionysus. They called him Pan, because he had made glad hearts of them all. Hail then to you, O Prince, I'm your suppliant in song, and I will be mindful of you and of another song. That one's nice, I think. And there's a footnote here. Pan is the Greek word for all. So they called him Pan because he had made glad the hearts of them all. Little note for you. And now, how about, to Zeus, to highest Zeus. Of Zeus I will sing, the best and the greatest of gods, the far-beholding Lord who brings all to an end, who holds constant counsel with Themis as she reclines against him. Be gracious, far-beholding son of Kronos, most glorious and greatest. To Hestia. Hestia, who tends to the sacred house of Prince Apollo the Far-Darter in holy Pytho. Ever does the oil drop moistly from your locks. Come to his house with a gracious heart, come with counseling Zeus, and lend grace to my song. To the Muses and Apollo. From the Muses I shall begin, and from Apollo and Zeus. For it is from the Muses and far-darting Apollo that singers and lyre players are upon the earth. But from Zeus comes kings. Fortunate is he whomever the Muses love, and sweet flows his voice from his lips. Hail, you children of Zeus, honor my song, and now I will be mindful of you and another song. Okay, we have another one to Dionysus. Of ivy trust, uproarious Dionysus, I begin to sing, the splendid son of Zeus and renowned Semele. Him did the fair trust nymph foster, receiving him from the king and father in their bosoms. And heedfully they nurtured him in the glens of Nyssa, I don't know. By his father's will, he waxed strong in the fragrant cavern, being numbered among the immortals, when the goddesses had raised him up to be the god of many a hymn. Then he went wandering in the woodland glades, draped with ivy and laurel, and the nymphs followed him where he led, and loudly rang the wild woodland. Hail to you then, Dionysus, of the clustered vine, and grant that we come gladly again to the season of the vintage, and afterward for many a year to come. To Artemis. I sing of Artemis of the golden arrow, goddess of the loud chase, a modest maiden, the slayer of stags, the archer, very sister of Apollo of the golden blade. She, through the shadowy hills and the windy headlands, rejoicing in the chase, draws her golden bow, sending forth shafts of sorrow. Then tremble the crests of the lofty mountains, and terribly dark woodland rings with the howls of beasts. And the earth shudders in the teeming sea. Meanwhile, she of the stout heart churns about on every side, slaying the race of wild beasts. When the archer huntress has taken her delight and has gladdened her heart, she slackens her bended bow and goes to the great hall of her dear brother Phoebus Apollo, to the rich Delphinian land, and arrays the lovely dance of muses and charities. There she hangs up her bended bow and her arrow, and all graciously clad about, she leads the dances, first in place, while the others utter their immortal voices in hymns to fair angled Leto. How she bore such children, preeminent among the immortals, in counsel and in deed. Hail, you children of Zeus and fair trust Leto. I will now be mindful of you and of another song. To Athena, of Pallas Athena, renowned goddess, I begin to sing. Of the grey-eyed, the wise, her of the relentless heart, the maiden revered, the savior of cities, the mighty Tritogenia, I don't know. From his holy head, Zeus the counselor himself begot her, all armed for war in shining golden armor, while in awe the other gods beheld it. Quickly did the goddess leap from his immortal head and stood before Aegeus bearing Zeus, shaking her sharp spear, and high Olympus trembled in dread beneath the strength of the grey-eyed maiden, while the earth rang terribly aground, and the sea rolled with dark waves. Then, suddenly, the sea grew still. The glorious son of Hyperion checked for a long time his swift steeds till the maiden, Pallas Athena, took from her immortal shoulders her divine armor. And Zeus the counselor rejoiced. Hail to you, child of Aegeus bearing Zeus. And now I will be mindful of you and of another song. Another to Hestia. Hestia, you who have obtained an eternal place and the foremost honor in the lofty halls of all immortal gods and of all men who walk on earth. Splendid is your glory and your gift, for there is no banquet of mortals without you. None where, Hestia, they are not accustomed first and last to make you an offering of sweet wine. And you, slayer of Argos, son of Zeus and Maia, messenger of the blessed gods, god of the golden wand, giver of all things good, with kindly heart befriend us in company with dear and honored Hestia, for you both dwell in the fine homes of earthly men, dear to the other's heart, strong supports, and you accompany intelligence and youth. Hail, daughter of Cronos, you and Hermes of the golden wand. Now I will be mindful of you and of another song. To Gaia, the mother of all. Of Gaia, the mother of all, I shall sing, firm foundation, eldest of gods, who nourishes all things in the world, all things that walk on the sacred land, all things in the sea, all flying things, all are fed from your bounty. Through you, revered goddess, are men happy in their children and fortunate in their harvest. Yours it is to give or to take livelihood from mortal men. Happy is he whom you honor with favoring heart. To him all good things are present in abundance. His fertile field is laden. His fields are rich in livestock. His house filled with goods. Such men rule righteously in cities of fair women. Great wealth, and riches are theirs. Their children exult in youthful delights, and their maidens joyfully dance and sport through soft meadow flowers in floral revelry. Such are those that you honor, holy goddess, generous spirit. Hail, mother of gods, wife of starry Ouranos, and freely in return for my song give me sufficient livelihood. Now I will be mindful of you and of another song. Now we have one to Helios. Helios is the god of the sun, or I think it's more accurate to say that he is the sun, but I guess he is the representation of the sun. Okay. Begin, O Muse Calliope, child of Zeus, to sing of Helios, the splendid Helios, whom dark-eyed, Euryphasia, maybe, bore to the son of Gaia and starry Ouranos. For Hyperion wedded famed Euryphasia, his own sister, who bore him beautiful children, rosy-armed Eos and fair-tressed Selene, and tireless Helios, like unto the immortals. Helios, mounted on his chariot, shines on mortals and on deathless gods, and dread is the glance of his eyes from the golden helm, and bright rays shine forth from him splendidly, and round his temples the shining locks flowing down from his fair head frame his far-shining face, and a beautiful garment, delicately wrought by the breath of the winds, shines about his body, and stallions speed beneath him when he, charioting his horses and golden-yoked car, drives down through heaven to ocean. Hail, Prince, and of your grace grant me livelihood enough. Beginning from you, I shall sing of the race of heroes half divine, whose deeds the goddesses have revealed to mortals. As you heard in the previous poem to Helios, they mentioned his sisters Eos and Selene. Eos, I believe, is the goddess of dawn, I think. And Selene is the moon. I believe Selene is also sometimes another name, or like mixed with like Hecate, I believe, and some other goddesses. One thing that you'll notice about just Greek mythology is that a lot of times that there are pretty noticeable differences in between stories and myths and like descriptions of gods, and even just like names and all that thing. And that's because like ancient Greece was not like a homogeneous society. It was fairly big, obviously, and like kind of sometimes distant from each other, I guess. Obviously there was no like internet or even like books really, that could be like, it's not like the Bible or something that you have now where it's just like you have the book and like people just like all refer to the same book. No, a lot of these stories were like passed on like orally for the most part. But anyway, because the Greek Empire, I guess the Greeks and also the Roman Empire, well, even more so the Roman Empire, very large. But they also expanded. They had colonies in like Africa and Asia Minor, and so they had people coming in, and so that's where some of the differences come, is that those people would bring in their myths and traditions and some of their culture and even sometimes their gods, and it would get worked into the local mythology. And also it's just like Greece worked on like cities, and each city was its own thing pretty much. Like they would have their own form of governance, their own sort of culture, all that, and they would have their own myths, and so they generally have the same idea of what each god was, like what they were in charge of, whatever. They might have different names, and they might hold certain gods in higher regard than others. Many cities had like a patron god, I guess you could say. Like obviously Athens was Athena, and so she was likely to be the most highly regarded god that they had, and they probably would have prayed to her and credited her with a lot more than some other places might have. So yeah, I'm just saying that you're going to see a lot of different descriptions of myths and gods, just because there is no one like true like canon story, I guess you could say. It just depends on, like, the book I have has a bunch of different poets and stuff, and if I do read it, you'll notice, like, from Apollodorus or Ovid or like Hesiod, he's whatever. You'll see a lot of differences and like unique stories, and you'll see that sometimes they will mention different gods and like completely ignore others, and that's just how it is when you have massive cultures and a lot of people and stuff. It's interesting. I'm melting. Okay, I think I might have to make this the last one to Celine. Okay. To Celine. You muses, sing of the fair-faced, wide-winged Celine. You sweet-voiced daughters of Zeus, son of Cronos, accomplished in song. The heavenly gleam from her immortal head circles the earth, and great beauty arises under her glowing light, and the sunless sky beams from her golden crown, and the rays dwell lingering when she has bathed her body in Oceanos' stream, and clad herself in far-shining raiment. Divine Celine, yoking her strong-necked, glittering steeds, then forward with speed she drives her deep-maned horses in the evening of the mid-month, when her mighty orb is full. Then her beams are brightest in the sky as she waxes, a token and a signal to mortal men. With her once was the son of Cronos, wedded in love, and she conceived and brought forth Pandia the maiden, preeminent in beauty among the immortal gods. Hail, queen, white-armed goddess, divine Celine, gentle-hearted and fair-tressed. Beginning from you, I will sing the renown of heroes half divine, whose deeds singers chant from their charmed lips, those ministers of the muses. So, I think that's going to be the last one I read. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I'll be able to maybe read some more stories, like from different poets, or just different stories, or just do other things in the future. And yeah, obviously I didn't read all of the Homeric hymns. Some of them are just really, really long, and also I skipped some of them because they had just too many names that I didn't know how to pronounce, so I didn't want to try doing it. But yeah, if you somehow stumbled across this video and you liked it, Thank you. Thank you so much. And hopefully you'll come back for the next one I make. So, thank you very much. I hope this was relaxing. I hope that you are doing whatever you need to do. You're sleeping, you're studying, you're working, whatever you're doing. I hope it goes well. And I hope to see you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.